Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's Reese from Pokernomics here. It's Monday afternoon. We're going to sneak into Texas Card House here, put a 3-hour session in, see if we can't get the 5-5 PLO game going. If not, we'll play 2-5 no limit or 1-2 PLO. We're just going to roll with it. We'll do well here. The action's always great. There's 15 tables running on a Monday afternoon. Before we get to the felt, help your boy out if you're enjoying the content, if you like the vlogs, if you like the short form stuff we're putting out. Share it with your friends, comment, like, and please subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of lurkers. A lot of people watch the channel, like to comment, but don't subscribe. Help us get to that 1,000, guys. And with that, let's go to the felt. We cruise into TCH Dallas, check in at the front, and almost instantly we get called to a 1-2 PLO table. Grab some chips. We're going to max buy here for $1,000 in this 1-2 PLO game and see what we can do. So I fold around for about an orbit until I play my first hand when I look down at ace, ace, king, jack with spades under the gun. This table in the short time I've been there has been pretty live, so I decide to limp here under the gun knowing that this thing's going to get raised. We get 2 callers before a middle position player makes it 25 to go. Comes back around to the button, and at this point, the button is going to make it 100 to go. The big blind calls, and at this point, I hammer it. I pot it. I make it 470 to go. After making it 470, the original raiser is going to shove here for 675. Unfortunately, this is like $75 short of being a live raise to me. So he gets called on the button and by the big blind as well. It's dead to me. We're going to call. We have a $2,700 pot with one player all in and a 3-way side pot. The flop comes out the jack of diamonds, 4 of clubs, 2 of clubs, and the player in the big blind checks to me. At this point, I go all in for about 350 more. The button snap calls and the big blind calls as well. We got 1050 on the side here, folks. The table agrees to run it once, and the turn comes to 6 of hearts, the river, the 8 of clubs, and immediately I know that a single pair is never good here with this kind of run out, rarely in a heads up spot, much less 4-way, and we get the bad news pretty quickly when the button tables the ace 7, king 3 with clubs, river the nut flush, but was really surprised to see that was a 3-bet hand on the button. I can tell this is going to be a good game, but we did get stacked here. And less than 18 minutes into the session, it is time for a rebuy. With all the action I've seen and the limited amount of time I've been at the table, feel really comfortable max buying into this game and putting in some work. We're going to rebuy for 1,000. Let's go. The next hand takes place about 15 minutes later. We're in middle position and look down at ace, ace, king 3 with king 3 of spades. Now in this hand, it had been a 1-2 $5 straddle, $10 dead raise, $30 dead re-raise. Seat 2 had called and seat 3 made it 75 to go when the action came around to me. I pot it at this point, making it 250 to go. The gentleman to act behind me, the same guy that punted all in the last hand, he punts again, this time for $435. Scares all the other players out, folds back around to me. We call, we have a $1,000 and 18 pot, and we are elated to see that he has kings here with us having a king in our hand. Of course, right in the window, he hits that one outer, and he's going to run pure here. This board runs out in his favor. You can see he's very happy to show us that he won and hit that one outer. And we're down. So now we are 0 for 2 in our aces all in pre-flop in this session. And we're down about $1,500. Let's get some momentum going in the right direction. So 2 hands after getting stacked, it's a dealer change. So it's time for a bomb pot. These are $15 per player. It's 9-handed. So there's $135 in the pot. We're going to run 2 flops out and start betting from there. Look down at my hand. I have ace 10, ace 6 with 3 clubs. Aces again in Omaha. You know how well they've been working out for me, right? So we go straight to a couple of flops. The first board comes out the jack of diamonds, 4 of hearts, the queen of hearts. And the second board comes out the queen of clubs, the 9 of hearts, and the 7 of clubs. All over that second board, flush draw, straight draw, overpair equity with the aces there. We've got a Broadway draw on that other board as well. It's a really powerful hand, and we're 9-handed. So the action kicks off with the player to my right out of position. He leads out for 75 on this flop. Gets called by myself and 2 other players, and we are going to a turn card with $435 in the pot. That first turn comes the ace of diamonds, gives us top set on that first board. That second board comes the deuce of diamonds. The player in seat 3 is going to take the lead on the action again. He pots it for $435. It's to us to act, and we've got about $650 in our stack at this point. So we shove, and surprisingly, we get called in 2 places behind us. The last person to call only has 350 in his stack. So we round up 350 from each person's chip stack, making that main pot $1,835. Now we have a side pot that's a 3-way side, covers the other 2 players. There's no more action, but there's $890 on the side as well. It is time to run out some rivers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how we do. If you like the vlog, if you like our content, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel, comment on my videos, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all the short form stuff. Let's go to the river. Boom. The 4 of diamonds, we get aces full on that top board, runs out a brick, a deuce on the river of that second board. We think aces up on the second board could possibly be good. We know we're good on that other board. And yes, we get the rare bomb pot scoop, double board, 4-way, $2,700 pot. Let's go. Quick stack update for those of you keeping track at home. After dragging that bomb pot, I've got $2,700 in front of me. I'm in the game for 2K, and this game shows no signs of slowing down. Let's get back to the felt. I fold about 4 or 5 hands in a row until we find our next playable spot. That comes in the form of this hand, King, King, 10, Jack with the King 10 of clubs in the big blind. There's a $10 straddle under the gun. 1 player in early position calls. A player in middle position makes it 50 to go. Now it's going to fold around to the small blind that just flat calls that 50. I 3-bet it to 175 at this point. It's going to fold around to the initial raiser. He's going to flat, and the small blind flats as well. Now we have $550 in the pot. The flop comes out the 7 of clubs, a queen of hearts, the deuce of diamonds. And the player in early position checks. I check. The player behind me checks. We take a turn card. It comes the 6 of spades. Early position player is going to check again. At this point, I'm thinking that I should be good here a majority of the time. Not really showing any signs from other players that they have a strong hand. I bet 250 and actually get called in both spots. Now the pot's $1,300. The river's going to come the 7 of diamonds, and early position checks. I check, and the middle position player here is going to go all in for a few $100. And he actually gets called pretty quickly by the small blind. I was surprised to see that. I fold out, and yeah, the late position player was trying to steal there. Early position had a 7 with some straight cards, just no kicker with it, and just had a bluff catcher at that point. He drags that pot, and we're on to the next hand. The next orbit, we find ourselves under the gun from a $10 straddle, and in the spirit of the game, people are throwing sleeper bets out there. I throw a $30 sleeper under the gun, and almost immediately, the player to my left makes it 75 to go. So now this is a 1, 2, 10, 30, 75 PLO hand, and things get a little slippery here. We look down at a very playable Queen Jack 9, 10 with Queen Jack of diamonds. So at this point, it folds around to the button. Button's a very aggressive player. He opens here, making it 270 to go. The player to my right calls. I call under the gun, and the player to my left in that $75 sleeper, he flats as well. So we have 4 players to a flop, 1080 in that pot. And that flop is going to come ace 5, 9 with the ace 5 of hearts. Everyone's going to check around to the pre-flop aggressor, who then pots this, and we all fold out. He scoops this pot. I did just want to take a minute to talk about these types of hands. In PLO cash games, the big, particularly double suited Broadway wrap hands, those are tremendously powerful hands where you can flop Broadways with redraws, 2 pairs and straight draws, the type of free roll hands that you just kind of live for in PLO cash games. That concludes my TED Talk on this hand. Just a few hands later, I play my next spot when I look down at the ace, king, jack, deuce, double suited. Now, this is a saucy hand in Omaha. We got suit and straight equity all over the place. Let's see if we can't get something going here. I open for $35 on the 1, 2, 10 straddle and get called in 3 spots. There's $145 in the pot when the flop comes out. Ace, queen, deuce, all spades. I have 3 pair in this spot. Unless someone has a big flush, I should be able to drag this right here. Action checks to me. I lead out for 145. And pretty quickly, the player behind me goes all in for 390. I have gotten my hand caught in the cookie jar here. I'm going to be forced to call at this point. I do. The pot is now $925, and that runs out a very innocuous 4 and 5. Spade flush is good. My opponent had it. He's going to drag a $925 pot here, and we're going to pull back a nub in this spot, unfortunately. A few minutes pass before I hear my name getting called on the PA. There's a seat open for me on the 5-5 table. It looks great, and I've been playing for about 2.5 hours, so we're gonna have to play a little bit longer. I decided I'm gonna put an extra hour or so into this session and go play on the 5-5 game. I have 1860 in front of me when I sit down in from my 2K buy-in, down a little bit, but very optimistic about the table that I've moved to. Naturally, the first spot we're going to get in after an orbit at the 5-5 table is going to be a bomb pot. It's $25 a person, 9-handed, $225 at the pot. We look down at an abysmal deuce 5-7-8 with the 5-7 of diamonds. It's going to be hard to make this hand work and win in a bomb pot. We go straight to 2 flops. The first flop comes out the queen of spades, 6 of hearts, 3 of diamonds. That second board is going to come the 4 of diamonds, 6 of diamonds, 3 of hearts. Flopped a gutter on the first board. That second board, though, we've got the nut straight with an upgrade with a straight flush redraw. On that flop, the action checks around to a player in late position who bets 250. Big blind is going to flat that. I'm going to flat that as well. About $1,000 in the pot at this point, and we're off to the turn. The turn on that bottom board comes the 9 of clubs, gives us more than just a gut shot. Now we have a little baby wrap on that board, and the top turn's going to come an 8. Now, at this point, we do still have the nut straight. With 5-7 here, we should be denying equity to anyone chasing a flush draw with these diamonds in our hand. After the early position player checks to us, we pot it, and the dealer says it's $11.50. This should be a $1,000 bet at this point. We started the hand with, I think, $17.50-ish in front of us, so got about $400 left behind us. The player to act behind us, he jams for his stack, and the player in the big blind goes all in. He has me covered for those additional $300 or $400. We get to a pot of about $4,500, like $4,475, something like that. We're all in 3 ways, and we're going to run out the rivers. The river on that bottom board comes out the 6 of spades, absolute brick. We have nothing on this board. We just need to hold on this second board. Unfortunately, that second board river comes out the 7 of clubs. We now no longer have the nuts on this board, and we get the bad news. We see our opponent has king, queen, 9, 10, queen, 9, top 2 on that bottom board, and hits the 9, 10 nut straight on that second board. Just absolute brutal run out. We are bustoed after this hand, and we're going to reload one last time. This table looks great. We're going to throw another $1,000 on this table and see if we can't run this up. Within seconds of getting our third bullet ready, we look down at the ace, king, jack, 7 with ace, king of clubs. And I'm in no mood to fold, ladies and gentlemen. We're in middle position in this hand. It's 5-5 with a 15 straddle. We've got 1 or 2 callers. I pot it. I make it 135 to go. Folds around to a player in late position who 3-bets this to 675. The rest of the players get out of the way, they fold out, and I jam for my 1K here. Obviously, he snaps and tells us we're doing one board. That board comes out, ace, queen, 4, rainbow, 8 of diamonds on the turn, 4 of clubs on the river. Pretty clean run out for my hand, unless he actually has a genuine big hand here, which I didn't suspect he did. He said he actually just hit an 8, had a donkey hand. Great spot for me to just double up and have a playable stack in this wild game. Got a little bit over 2K now. Let's see if we can't make something happen. The very next hand, we look down at another playable spot. In early position, we find ourselves with the queen, queen, 7-8 with 7-8 of spades. Got a little over 2K to start this hand, and there's a $25 straddle under the gun. I make it 75 to go, and this doesn't happen every day, ladies and gentlemen, but we get a family pot. 8 players call my $75 open. Now we have $675 in the pot, 9 ways, and we take a flop that comes the 4 of diamonds, 7 of clubs, 8 of hearts. Hey, we flop top 2, but against 8 other random hands, it's very likely that we're behind in this spot. The flop action checks around to a player who in mid position bets 300, gets called by another player in late position, and then gets check raised for 1,500 bucks on this flop. Obviously, we're not good at this point, not trying to draw out on a mage straight or even a set. We let this one go and let these dinguses fight it out. All right, folks, we're about to hit the grand finale of this session. You know, when I was getting consulted by Rampage when I started the vlog, one of the things that he really emphasized was the importance of starting and finishing these vlogs with strong hands, really capturing some attention. This is probably one of the first vlog episodes I've had that ends on that high note with just a sick, big pot. So before I show you that, please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, hit that button, subscribe for me, like, share the videos, comment on them, get on Insta, get on TikTok, look at the short form, don't be a jabroni. And with that, let's go to the felt. So the last hand of the night has lots of fireworks. Strap yourself in. We look down at ace, 8-3 rainbow on the button, a playable hand, but naked aces, no suit equity, kind of sketch in that regard, but it's a 5-5 with a 15 straddle. An early position player made it 60. He got 1 or 2 callers before the low jack 3-bet it to 375. Without hesitation, the player in the cutoff 4-bets this to 1555, which basically put them all in. I've got like 2075 to start the hand. I'm, down still almost 1,000 for the day after this last bullet. And I'm not going to go without a fight. We've got the best hand pre, obviously. Likely it will not hold up 4 ways. We're just going to rip it. It'll make for good content if we brick, whatever. We rip it for 2075 and get called in 2 other spots. So now we are 4-way all in pre. Our main pot here is $5,400. We've got a side pot of about $2,000. It's just insane, right? You can imagine that sigh of relief I feel when I rip the ace of spades on the flop, ace 3-9 rainbow top set. I table my hand, pumped about this. We just have to fade a nasty run out. The turn comes a jack of hearts, bringing some straight and flush draws. There's nothing I can do about it. We got all the money all in on the flop. I've tabled my hand. A couple of players look sick when I flip that set over, so I think I'm probably good unless somebody backdoors a flush, and the river comes a 6 of hearts. Now, when that hand runs out, 2 of the 4 players in the hand muck their hands. I have them covered. Top set is good. The 3rd player in the hand, he sits there and hems and haws, is trying to act like he's going to slow roll, but he doesn't have the flush. He ends up mucking his hand, and we're going to drag a $7,500 pot, getting us winner for this session. We stick around, we fold a few more hands, but we're pretty much done for this session. At this point, it is time to rack these chips up and get out of here.
There we go. We got it. We got 2, 4, 5, 6, 65, 75, 65.
That was sick. We just cashed out 7,600. We're in that game for $3,000. Had bought him for 1,000, reloaded for 1,000. We were playing the 1-2 games. It got wild, out of control. Then we got busted on the 5-5 straddle game in the bottom pot hand where I flopped a straight, had nothing on the other board, and turned a wrap. Dude had top pair and river to higher straight. Just clipped me there. Rebought for 1,000, doubled up right off of him pretty quickly after that. And then got in that huge pot that was like 7,500 bucks with aces that held 3 or 4 ways, just absolutely insane. So another good session here at TCH Dallas. If you like this session, if you like what we're putting up, please like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you thought about this one. We'll see you next time. Later.